All right, 93, 93, 93. Do what thou wilt should be the whole of the law. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Are you really asking me about the Pluto retrograde? What's up, Ty? What's up, Violent? Like, are you really asking me about the Pluto retrograde? Like this, like the title isn't the Pluto retrograde. I don't think you needed to ask that question. Like we're literally about to talk about Pluto. I don't think you needed to ask that question. Like we're about to talk about it, right? So just hold tight. Like you're jumping the gun right now. You're jumping the gun. We ain't even started the video yet. I just like to give it a couple minutes, you know. What's up, Immortal 72? I just like to let the live stream go a couple minutes before I go in, you know, so that we don't have to deal with any glitches and, you know, I don't want to cuss and I don't want to go overboard for the first couple minutes. So that's why I'm just, you know, we're just taking our time. We're just gonna give it a couple minutes before we go in. But yes, tomorrow, May 1st, Pluto will be in retrograde. What's up, Vishahan? 93, 93. So yeah, salute, salute, salute. You know, shout out to the team, you know. Shout out to you. That's what I'm saying. I be trying to be serious. I be trying to be serious and don't be working. You know, see, I can't put up facades, you know, not with y'all. For the world, I can put up facades. For the world, I can, you know, do all that mystery. Y'all just make me laugh. You know, y'all touch my heart. So the world don't get to see the smiles and the cheer and the joy. The world doesn't get to see that. Y'all only get to see it. But that's because I feel y'all in my heart center. That's all it is. I'll be trying to be serious. It don't work. It don't work. It don't work. But like for the world, it's like it's whatever. Right? It's whatever. It's the art of war out here. But anyway, so I've been doing my research because I wanted to make sure that the dates are accurate. You know, so I can give y'all a full synopsis of what's going on. So I'm not just about to tell you about the Pluto retrograde. I'm going to give you the whole story. So that's why I've been doing my research, right? I've been looking at the charts so that we can have a full understanding. So we're not just, you know, talking about this just because it's happening. Like, so what? Like, just because Pluto is in retrograde, so what? If I don't tell y'all the full context, it's not really going to make any sense. Right? There's going to be a bunch of people that talk about the Pluto retrograde, but I guarantee you I will go deeper than anybody on this platform, as I always do, right? Because I just simply do the research. Just simply do the research. So I'm gonna take y'all deeper than anybody else would take you. And you know, we always do that though, right? That should be nothing new. That should be nothing new. So we'll get it in about 5 minutes or about 30 seconds. We'll start going in. All right. So give us about 30 seconds. We'll start going in. All right. Yeah. Yesterday, my whole mood has just changed. I swear I was trying to be serious before I hit the live button. I swear I was trying to be serious. It's not working. But you know, y'all been seeing me. Y'all been seeing me at the job. I'm like, oh man. Y'all been seeing me. You see, I think my eyes is better now. I think my eyes are better now. Y'all been seeing me at the job. This shit is crazy. Been doing that slave labor. I swear, this job is so strenuous that people didn't even make it past training. That's just how strenuous this shit is. We've been training all week, right? We really just getting an introduction. Like the facility that I work at, they just opened. Like I guess last Sunday. They only been open for like a week. So this is a whole new facility, whole nother building. So this ain't just an operation that's been going on. This is brand new, and people didn't even make it through training. As well as like, oh, they couldn't take it. They couldn't take it. But yeah, I understand though. I understand. You're literally, well, there's many positions, but you unloading trucks. Like, you doing all type of physical labor. You doing all type of physical labor. So they couldn't take it. You lifting up 50 pounds, 50-pound boxes. So just imagine unloading trucks. Just imagine doing that. Like, okay, y'all gotta unload these two trucks. One of these trucks is organized. Another truck, they just threw these boxes in with no type of organization. One box, everything is all perfectly organized. You can just pull them out, cool. But this other truck, they just threw it in like they just had to clock out. Like, yo, we got an hour to clock out somehow. We gotta load this truck up. They just threw these boxes in with just not taking heed to anything. So they didn't make it through the trade. It was like one person went to lunch, and they just never came back. They just never came back. They just, in their mind, it was like, okay, I'm not prepared for this. This ain't what I signed up for. Some people didn't even make it through the first day. Some people didn't even make it through the first day. So I understand though, because this is definitely the most physically demanding job I've ever had. Not to say that I had a bunch of jobs. So I guess I'm not the right person to even make that assumption. Right? I ain't even had that many jobs. But this is definitely the most physically demanding. So basically, not only are you on your feet for 10 hours anyway, like I done did that before, like you're on your feet for 8 to 10 hours. But you're not just on your feet, you're actually, again, you're using upper body strength, you're using lower body strength. Y'all see I was sore. I just got over my soreness. I'm not sore now. I'm not sore now. What's up, Saki? But I've been sore the whole week. I've been sore the whole week. Y'all see, I haven't been doing anything. I haven't been doing anything. Like I'm behind. That's why again. That's what I'm telling y'all. I have to get up at 2:45 every morning. Of course, I'm off today, but whenever I'm working, I have to get up. My day starts at 2:45, and that's just for y'all, so that I can actually show up for y'all. And that's why I do the early morning live streams. Because if I didn't do that, then y'all wouldn't see me all week. Because as soon as I get back home, it's like I fall out. I'm like, man, I only have 6 hours to be home. I'm only home for 6 hours out the whole day. Out of 24 hours, I'm only home 6 of 24 hours, and somehow I gotta get some sleep. So I'm probably only gonna sleep half of that. So I'm only getting 3 hours of sleep. Because again, I gotta feed myself right. I gotta fucking make sure I'm clean. I gotta make sure I'm organized. I gotta make sure I'm fresh. You know. So yeah, you already know what's up, Dank Wizard. You on the clock right now? Stacking bags on the airplane bin. Yeah, see, I already know. Again, I'm new to this. I'm new to this. So, for somebody who been working their whole life, like this, I know this ain't shit to y'all. Like I'm the newbie in the room, baby. I'm the newbie in the room, right? So I'm just catching up, right? As y'all see, I've been on the YouTube grind for the last decade, but I know, majority of the people been busting their ass the whole time. The whole time I've been on YouTube, there's been other people busting their ass. So I really don't have shit to complain about. If I want to be 100% honest, I really don't have nothing to complain about. There's people who've been doing this shit way longer than me. Again, the whole time I've been on YouTube, somebody been busting their ass. So that's just a real. So I don't get ahead of myself. I'm like, hey, whatever, right? Who the fuck am I to say anything, really, right? Who the fuck am I? I'm just getting started. People been doing this shit already. Making sure that you get all the things, all the things you need to make sure that the world keeps going. I'm actually a productive citizen now. Imagine that. Imagine me being a productive citizen. Imagine that. That shit is crazy to me. So that shit is crazy. I'm like, oh shit, I'm actually a productive citizen. I'm actually a part of, the currency in my city now. Like, oh, wait, what the fuck is that? It don't matter. Like, it's still strange. It's real. Okay, let's get to the video. We ain't got to talk about me all day. We got all week to talk about that. All right, we got all week to talk about the madness. We just had the graduation yesterday. I didn't even show up to the graduation. That's just how exhausted I was. a graduation, like, oh, you actually can, like, see, I didn't get it at first. I'm like, what do we have a graduation for? This is just training. I'm like, how do you graduate from training? They're like, no, well, it was probably like 54 people who showed up on the first day. But then when you look at the people that actually made it, I think it was at least probably 10 to 12 people who actually just stopped showing up. So I'm like, well, in that case, I guess you did earn that graduation. I'm like, oh, yeah, some people didn't make it. Some people thought they had it in them, but they didn't. Some people thought they had it in them, but they really didn't. But again, that's regular shit. Let's get to that astrology, right? Let's get to the whole. What's up, Michelle? Much love and respect, peace and love. You always been a productive person. This is what I'm saying. I be trying to be humble. That's just me being humble. Oh, yeah, I know I've been putting in that work, but that's just me being humble. It's just me being humble. I don't like to brag too much. You know. So yeah, of course I've been putting in the work, but I don't like it. I don't like to say it. I don't like to say it. I like to always send a fresh perspective. Cause you can technically say I've been doing way more work than the average person in terms of what we actually talk about here. That would technically be true, but do I really have to say that? Do I really have to say it? Like, I'm just trying to be normal and shit. I'm just trying to be normal. But I guess I don't have to try. Right? I mean, we've been into the occult, we've been into the metaphysics. Now y'all see me busting my ass. I'm like, some weird shit. Some weird shit. Let's get into it, though. Let's get into it. Again, I would just want to, just kick around. So we good. We 12 minutes in, 13 minutes in. Let's get to the live stream. Pluto retrograde. So starting May 1st, which is tomorrow, Pluto will be in retrograde. So let me give you the full breakdown as I was speaking about before. Let me give you the full breakdown. So Pluto is currently in Aquarius. I talked about this on my Telegram channel. I may have talked about this when it first happened. March, I think I may have said May. March 23rd, Pluto went into retrograde. March 23rd, because we're not even in May yet, so I don't know if I said May or March. Pluto, excuse me, went into Aquarius March 23rd of this year. And I made a Telegram post about it. I may have talked about it in a live stream. I don't even know. I'm not even sure if I spoke about it or not. We be doing so many videos. I don't even know if I'm sure I did. I don't know if I put it in the title. It may be a video. If you go back to May, I don't know why I'm getting May in March. If you go back to March 23rd, I may have even made a video about it. I don't even remember. So Pluto went into Aquarius March 23rd, 2023. All right. So no deceit, 93. All right. What's up, Isaiah? Where would you suggest someone start who is new to astrology? All right. I might as well talk about that before we even go in. All right. So before we even go in, for those who may be new, all right, let me just do a quick breakdown, then we'll get right to it. But let me give you the dates. I'll give you the dates first, so y'all can contemplate on the dates before I even answer that question. So Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008. Right, so I'll let y'all contemplate on these dates while I answer the question. Pluto went into Capricorn November of 2008. That's before a lot of people was even spiritual. That's how far back it goes. Pluto went into Capricorn November of 2008. So this was before 2012. This was before a lot of people even knew what the fuck was going on. This was a long time ago. I was just getting started on my journey. If I go back into 2008, I was just getting started. So that's just how long it's been. Pluto, so from 2008 to 2023, which is the year we're in now, Pluto has been in Capricorn for that amount of time. Pluto will also be in Aquarius. Well, first, let's deal with the retrograde. Again, I just want to lay down a foundation with the date. So Pluto will be in retrograde starting tomorrow for 5 months, all the way to October the 11th of this year. So for about 5 months, Pluto will go back because Pluto is in Aquarius. So when a planet goes retrograde, it starts moving backwards. So Pluto will be in retrograde until October 11th of this year. So Pluto was actually going back into Capricorn. Pluto will go back into all the way to 27 degrees Capricorn. So this is like the extra karma. It's very interesting because so Pluto has been in Capricorn for a long time. It just went into Aquarius, but it's like, oh no, we're not done yet with the Capricorn energy, not just yet. So we're about to have like a 5 month layover, just to put it into layman terms. We're going to have a 5 month layover. So Pluto will reintroduce us into the last degrees of Capricorn for 5 months. So October 2023, then Pluto will go direct. So Pluto will start moving forward again, and then it will make its way back into Aquarius. Pluto will be in Aquarius until 2043, 2043. So that's 20 years. So Pluto will be in Aquarius for 20 years. Some of us is probably not going to see that day. Some of us will, some of us are not. Right? We don't know what the fuck is going to go on. Right? That's 20 years. A lot is going to happen in 20 years. Some people will become healthier. Some people will become sicker. There's going to be a lot that goes on. So let me answer the question. So now that y'all got the foundation from 2008 to 2043. It's a long time, right? Because Pluto is a very long time. November 28th is when Obama was elected. Seems like you want it. So you're going to see how that ties into everything, right? Very good synopsis. Very good synopsis. Yes, the first black president was elected when Pluto went into Capricorn. Capricorn, as we know, is the devil. That's the Capricorn energy in the tarot. So that should give you something to contemplate on. So Obama, Capricorn energy, devil energy, and then when you look at what actually occurred, then that actually will let you know exactly why that happens. That's why, again, I keep telling y'all, these are astrologers. The people that so-called run shit are astrologers, or they have astrologers on their payroll. Nothing is done by accident. But let us continue. So let me answer the question. If you're starting off, for one, before I even answer the question, if you're even watching my channel, if you have even found this channel, because this channel is not, I don't even know how you even found the channel. So that's kind of a weird question now that I'm thinking about it. If you've been watching me for any amount of time, you should not be a beginner in astrology, because that's really all I talk about. Literally, every time you see my face, I'm talking about some type of astrology. I'm talking about some tarot. I'm talking about the occult in some form or fashion. So if you are a beginner, I don't even think you even comprehend what I'm talking about. I'm not saying you, because you're just answering the question. But for anybody who's new, I'm like, how do you even understand what I'm talking about if this is what I'm talking about all the time? At some point, I think you like, okay, let me do some research here to even understand. Like, if I'm talking about the Kabbalah, you're like, okay, I don't know what the Kabbalah is, you would probably want to do some research so that you would know what's going on, so that you can actually follow what I'm saying. Because if I'm just mentioning a whole bunch of things that, okay, well, I don't know what that is, I don't know what that is, well, the only way to know what it is to do some research. So I don't think a lot of beginners even watch me. I don't, because this is not a beginner's channel, right? This is actually advanced. I'm actually talking the way that, but I guess that actually makes sense, huh? I do be, this is highly advanced stuff. I do be talking about stuff other people are not talking about, right? So I guess people are like, oh, this is a little bit too advanced. But I don't even know how a beginner would even find me. Like, I don't think this channel is even interesting to beginners, because I'm going to take you all the way to the cosmos. So Basically, just don't be lazy. To answer your question, don't be lazy because I want to make sure to keep the fire on your ass. That's why I'm always reminding you, right? Do not be lazy. Do not take this science like you fucking like school. School makes you lazy. Do not approach this like you approach school. You know what I mean? Like you have to be active. You want to be able to see this shit in real time. Do not be lazy, or you will be left behind. You will be left behind, and it's not going to be nobody's fault but your own. So, meaning if I'm ever saying something that you don't really comprehend, it's on you to do the research, because I'm not going to be able to explain everything every time. Right? Every live stream is not going to be, okay, you can ask me anything. That's not going to happen every single live stream. Sometimes I just got to give the revelation and get the fuck out of there. Especially, y'all be seeing me at work. I be having a limited amount of time. There be people around and shit. I got to speak in code. That's another thing. Sometimes I use language that y'all might not understand. Not y'all. Y'all understand. But if you knew, you probably don't even know what I'm talking about. Because I have to speak in code. When I'm amongst the public, I have to speak in code. So if you're like, oh, what was it? Just introduce yourself to supreme mathematics, supreme alphabets, all the things I talk about, right? So if I say, for example, I'm at the Justice Cipher Born, like Justice Cipher Born, what the fuck is that? I'm using supreme mathematics. J-O-B, job. I'm at the job, but I'm not gonna say I'm at the job and like, okay, yeah, you at the job. But if I say I'm at the Justice Cipher's Born, that means talking about. I know how to code my words to the point where it can be 100 people around me, but they don't even know what I'm talking about, so they're not even gonna comprehend. You need to keep that so they're not able to dig into it. But you understand exactly what I'm talking about because you've been listening to me long enough. So I would say, even if you're a beginner, just keep listening. If you're not a person that likes to read a bunch of books, just keep listening. You will catch on. Some people like to do that. Just if you listen long enough, you will catch on. That's why I have so many videos, right? It's 1,000 videos for you to catch on, 1,100 videos at this point, right? You got over 1,000 videos. You will catch up. You will catch on eventually, right? You will catch on. But I do that to make you more advanced because we must speak in code. Because if I'm just speaking in layman's terms, that's when people begin to cast the evil eye on you. That's why I don't do that. So let me explain to you why I do that. Because if you're, let's just say I'm talking about the Lima, I'm talking about Aleister Crowley, and then people like, I hate that motherfucker. I don't like Aleister Crowley. I'm religious. I'm a fucking Christian, for example. Now they're going to be looking at me weird, casting the evil eye, and it'll be my own fault. Fuck them. It'll be my fault because I'm speaking to laymen. I'm speaking to laymen's, but y'all are not laymen's, right? Y'all are not fools. Y'all are not idiots. So I'm not going to talk to you like an idiot. I'm not going to talk to you where somebody else can comprehend what I'm saying, and then it makes them feel some type of way. Because you know it's going to make them feel some type of way. I'm talking about all the demons, all the devils, all the angels. I'm talking about a lot of stuff that people don't agree with. I'm talking about Baphomet. I'm talking about all type of shit. So if I shield my words in the occult, in the cloak, then they're not even going to be able to do it. I don't even know what he's talking about. Is it even making sense? So it throws them off, which is what we're supposed to be doing. That's why I don't speak about these things in public. So if I have to be in public, I'm going to code my words to the point where you can't follow along even if you wanted to. It's like, yo, because yeah, as soon as I say something, okay, I'm about to go to the born Cipher King Savior. They're like, what? Yo, yeah, I'm about to hit up the born Cipher King Savior. What? What the fuck are you talking about? BOOKS, books. I'm about to go hit up those books. Now I can say that. Okay, I'm about to read this book on devil worship. Oh yeah, yeah. If I say that clearly, like, oh, it's gonna throw them off. But like, okay, I'm about to read. Like okay, well, what subject are you about to read? Okay, I'm about to read the divine equality, victory, I love. What subject? I'm about to read the divine equality, victory, I love. Devil, DEVIL. Okay. So if I speak like that, they're like, what the? They have no comprehension of what we just said. But you do. If you know supreme mathematics, you know supreme alphabet, then you know like, oh yeah, I see what you're doing. That's why you, but you see, you got to be quick minded to you got to catch on. Well, what's your name? My name is Allah Savior, He Allah. Allah Savior, He Allah. What? ASHA, Asha. Okay. What's up, plugs and kisses? You get it? So, to answer your question, this is not for beginners. It's not for beginners. Meaning, the whole purpose of me creating this channel is to talk to those who are advanced. You know how many beginner videos are on YouTube? Astrology for beginners. You can find that content everywhere. The occult for beginners, numerology for beginners. Everybody makes content for beginners. That content dominates YouTube because everybody want to speak to the layman's. I'm like, I am not here for the layman's. The lames, right? I'm not here for the lames. Everybody, like, there's overwhelmingly enough content for if you're new. You don't even have to watch me, like, but that's all over YouTube. Everybody has beginner type videos. I got tired of seeing that shit. I'm like, well, what about for those who are advanced? Where's the videos for where's the advanced astrology videos? Where's the advanced numerology videos? Where's the advanced Kabbalistic videos? For people who are advanced. I didn't find those videos. Everybody's trying to speak to layman's. Why? Because they're trying to make money. This is a business for them, right? So of course they want to, excuse me, they want to speak to you in terms, to get your money. Because why not? It's just that you're just another business client to them. But as y'all see, I'm like, this is 93. I'm like, I'm not supposed to be talking to y'all like laymen. I'm supposed to talk to y'all in a way that I would speak to myself. And then you catch on. It may take a little bit, but eventually you will catch on. So if I say, okay, I'm about to talk about the cipher CC, you love truth. Cipher CC, you love truth. What the fuck is that? Occult. OCCULT. Right? But if I say that amongst people, they don't know what I'm talking about, so they can't interfere. It's called interference. People interfere with their bullshit ass minds and their layman ass thoughts. So when you start to talk advanced and you start thinking, you have to think advanced as well. You got to think about it, then you speak it. Then the laymen, they can't interfere. They can't throw in their bullshit. You know what I mean? But I learned that because I would be talking about this stuff amongst people, and they would be, now people want to kind of linger around and see what I got to say and all that. Again, y'all see, I done did plenty of videos in public. And then I called on, I'm like, these motherfuckers are just lingering on. But as soon as I start talking advanced, as soon as they can no longer follow what I'm saying, now they just leave. They ain't trying to, they're like, yo, I don't even know what the fuck is going on here. So don't be a layman. Don't be a lame. That's my advice. Don't be a layman. Don't be a lame. So I just gave you the codes. If you really want to comprehend what I'm saying, it's called Supreme Alphabet. Memorize it. So when I speak in those terms, you don't get thrown off. And if you get thrown off, it's your own fault because I just gave you the keys. I just gave you the keys. If you don't utilize them, then that's on you. It's not on me. I gave you the keys. But of course, you got to pick the keys up and start unlocking the doors. That's the work that you got to do. But I already gave you the codex. So again, when I'm amongst the public, I will speak more in code so that we can keep the energy clear so that people ain't putting in their own bullshit. Because that's what people do. If you don't believe me, then you start speaking this type of shit in public amongst people that don't agree with you, and you see what happens. You try it. Start talking about the devil. Start talking about Baphomet. Start talking about Aleister Crowley. Talk about 93 amongst people who don't agree. And you see what happens. But when you talk about this in code, watch what happens. People will leave your ass alone because they can't follow, because you're going beyond their intellect. You're going over their heads. You're going over their He, equality, Allah, divine, Savior. Heads. You're going over them. Okay? It's language. It's the language of mathematics. That's why supreme mathematics, supreme alphabet. It's a language. If you don't speak the language, of course, it's not going to make no sense. But that's why the language exists. It's just not for the layman. It will never be for the layman. And then you just have people who just want to linger on, who just want to linger around. They just want to be around. This is how you dispel that. You can say this is spellcraft, this is witchcraft, this is casting spells, but these are protection spells. Get the fuck out of my cipher. That's what that means. When you go over their head, they get the fuck on. But you want to talk about this shit directly, then watch people try to interfere with your energy. That's all it is. All right. So hopefully y'all get it. Hopefully you decide to keep up. If you don't, then eventually you will catch on. It may take you a little longer, but eventually you will catch on. All right. Well, this Saturday, the day of Saturn, land on the weekend. A day that's been associated, that's been orchestrated to be a time of leisure in Western society. It's not even a why, it's just astrology. It's not even a why, right? Because you're basically asking, okay, well, why is Saturn on Saturday? Well, if you go by the Bible, did it not say God rested on the seventh day? He rested on the seventh day. This is religion, fuck a he, but let me just fuck them up. She rested on the seventh day. I'm gonna throw a wrench into the equation. Fuck that masculine shit. That's the patriarchy, that's religion. Religion introduced us to these male deities. You got Allah in Islam, you got Jesus and God in Christianity, then what do you got? Abraham and Judaism. You got all this male energy, all this dick swinging. We ain't really with that, right? Because before religion, they just called them pagans, right? But pagans were just worshipers of the divine feminine. Because before religion, you had all these goddesses. Before law, you had a lot, right? Let's just be real here. You had all these goddesses, and all these niggas got mad because, they love dick. I'm just gonna be real, right? You got these motherfuckers, they love dick, so of course they like dick swinging. That's why you motherfuckers like beef with each other. It's just too much of that. So that's why we put an end to that. Like, man, fuck all that. Why do you think all these dudes be beefing? It's like beefing, beef, meat. But we don't catch this, right? That's why I don't even comprehend this shit. I don't even comprehend it. I'm like, wait, why? Again, like, even when dudes, I'll be in the public, like, if a dude is, like, looking at me a little bit too much or trying to be in my energy, I'm like, yo, what the fuck is, I'll be getting irritated. I'm like, why are you overly interested in me? You got all these women around, why are you overly interested in strangers? That's why that energy is just weird to me. That's just weird. But again, it's not weird to them. But it's weird to me. But anyway, I'm just offsetting that overly masculine shit, right? It's too much. It's not balanced. The only way to balance it is with the feminine. So if it's just God, 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 Jesus, 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 Muhammad, 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 Moses, Abraham, all the prophets are men. Right? But they just want to say, okay, women are not required to study. According to Judaism, women are not even required to study, but if you a man, you better study. That's how they play it. Like, women, okay, let the women be women. But if you are a man, you are required to know. But then you had oracles. They were required to know as well. But we don't ever hear about these women now, do we? They get lost to history. We don't know who they are. But the first deities were goddesses. Kai Belly. The first deities were goddesses, not gods. The first deities were goddesses. But we don't even remember their name. How many people are even familiar with Kai Bellies? The average person don't know who that is. They probably know about Kali. But if I say, what do you know about Kai Belly? They get stuck. They don't even know who that is. And these will be spiritual people. Spiritual people don't even know about Kai Belly. But again, I'm just going off on a rant. Let's get back to the actual shit, right? But to answer your question, because it was a question, what's with Saturday? Saturday is a day of rest, right? So does that not make sense to you why Saturn, which is the heaviest planet, which is the day of rest, God rested on the seventh day? This is what I'm saying. This is all astrology. The Bible, the Quran, the Torah, this is all astrology. If you look at each day, the creation story, the Genesis story, if you look at each day, it aligns with the planet that is in accordance to that day. What did God say? Let there be light. If the first day is Sunday and Sunday is the sun, let there be light. Does that not correlate with the sun? So if you go from Sunday to Saturday, Saturday is the day of rest, then Sunday will be the day of the sun. It doesn't make it, again, as an astrologer, it just makes perfect sense to me. I'm like, okay, this is not going over my head. I see what y'all are really talking about here. Like, I caught that instantaneously. So, of course, Saturn would be the day of rest. Of course, Sunday would be the day of light. But that's according to astrology. It's planetary days. That's just according to the planetary days. All right? What's up, Steph? 93 Steph. The artwork on the thumbnails is fire. Yeah, I've been putting in that work. That's what I'm saying. I don't even be knowing how. I be feeling lazy. I be feeling lazy, but I know I'm like, yo, I be putting in a lot of work. I got all type of thumbnails. I got all type of thumbnails. I be putting in that work. I be putting in the work. I gotta release this song for y'all. I'm still fucking around. I done recorded a whole new song. It's just sitting in the laptop, cause I've been working. So I've been on my artistic game too. I've been on my artistic game. All right, I'm gonna make sure I put out that song too before I have to start the work schedule again. I'm gonna make sure to release it, cause I've been telling y'all I'm gonna release this song again. I didn't think I was gonna be this tired. I didn't think I was only gonna have 3 hours of sleep. I had to go through this first week. I'm like, oh, I had to prepare myself. I'm like, okay, I know what to expect. I know I have to juggle my time. See, time is different now. I have to juggle my time now. I don't get to just do things when I want to no more. Right now, I'm like, okay, I got 3 hours. Unless I sacrifice sleep. If I sacrifice sleep, I got 6 hours. But if I want to get some type of rest, which is not just rest because I'm tired, it's rest in my body. My body just overwhelmed. My body has to rest. I'm like, let me rest my body for a little bit, and then I have to, I got 3 hours to do other stuff. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Right? That's neither here nor there. So let's get back to the Pluto retrograde. Right? So once again, for those who may have missed the first part, let me explain exactly what's going on. Pluto went into Capricorn, right? Hold on. Guess I got caught up with the Saturn. Saturn being associated with hard work. Saturn is associated with hard work. That's true. Saturn is the heaviest planet. That is true. Saturn represents the status quo. Saturn represents the world. So those are true. However, Saturn also represents rest. So you can say, okay, well, how does Saturn represent rest and hard work? That doesn't make sense. Okay, well, let me explain that. So that we're not confused there, all right? So let me explain that. Meaning, Saturn represents hard work because Saturn rules over Capricorn. And we're talking about Pluto and Capricorn, right? So this pretty much correlates with what I'm saying now because Capricorn is ruled by Sagittarius, not Sagittarius, Saturn. What am I thinking? Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Now, Aquarius is also ruled by Saturn originally before the discovery of Uranus. So Saturn originally was the ruler of Capricorn and Aquarius. So this is what we must understand. So when most people think about Saturn, they're only thinking about Capricorn. Remember, if we're talking about the planetary days, you're only dealing with 7 planets. There's 7 days. Obviously, there is 3 planets missing. So if we're talking about the planetary days, this is not taking into account Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto. So if we really want to understand the planetary days, we have to comprehend that there's more going on, meaning Mars is not just the ruler of Aries, Mars will also be the ruler of Scorpio if we're going by the 7. So Saturn is not just Capricorn, Saturn is also Aquarius. Then, which one am I missing now? So that's Pluto, Neptune. Jupiter would not just rule over Sagittarius, Jupiter will also rule over Pisces as well. So you see, we have to change up our way of thinking because, again, this is ancient science. So if we comprehend that Saturn, again, Saturn with hard work, that's more of a Capricorn energy. So I'm just clarifying this. That hard work in Saturn is hard work. It's really Capricorn. The workaholic of the zodiac is Capricorn. The workaholic is not Aquarius. The workaholic is Capricorn. So that's why, okay, it's Saturn is connected with hard work. That's Capricorn. But if you start to unlock the mysteries of Aquarius, now you understand, okay, the 7th day is a day of rest. That's really talking about Aquarius. It's not talking about Capricorn. Well, what's the difference between Capricorn and Aquarius? Aquarius is about cyber magic. Aquarius is the technomancer, meaning the work that Aquarius puts in, meaning if you look at the star card in the tarot, which is actually right here, right? Hold on. Let me actually just show you, let me show you this, right? What's up, Bethlehem Barkley? What was that? Y'all be having some creative names. Y'all be having some creative. Oh shit, that's creative. I give y'all y'all really creative with these names. Y'all really creative with these names. Y'all really creative. That's your real name. It's creative. It's creative. That's a creative name. Cause I'm thinking about the Star of Bethlehem, right? That's the first thing that come to mind. That's the first thing that come to my mind. The Star of Bethlehem and the 3 wise men. So I guess that's biblical, right? What's up, May 93? Here's the star card. So yeah, I'm not making fun of you. I'm not making fun of you. It's creative. It's creative. Like who else do you know? Who else do you know that's named Bethlehem? Right? So it's not biblical. What the Star of Bethlehem is in the Bible. Now, of course, I'm not saying that that's where it comes from. It's an actual star, so it actually comes from astrology. So that's why I said the Star of Bethlehem. I mean, if we're talking about stars, we're talking about astrology and astronomy. It just is in the Bible. It's mentioned in the Bible, so it's biblical, right? It's biblical because it's in the Bible. It's not biblical because there's nothing original about the Bible, right? We just use it as reference, right? Everything in the Bible is just stories about things that happened before the Bible was written, right? They're just stories. They're just myths, right? But of course, if we take it literally, then we don't know that. But we're not taking anything literally. That's why we're talking about astrology right now. We're not talking about the Bible. The Bible is just a reference because that was a question that was asked. Here's the star card. Because we're talking about the day of Saturn. We're talking about Saturn being associated with hard work. So why did God rest on the 7th day if Saturn is a planet of hard work? So we're just separating Capricorn from Aquarius because Saturn also rules over Aquarius originally. So this is the star card, right? The star card takes us to the goddess. This is the point that I'm mentioning, right? If we're dealing with Capricorn, we're dealing with the masculine. If we're dealing with Aquarius, we're dealing with the feminine. And we know feminine represents the negative energy. It represents the passive energy. So when it says God rested on the seventh day, rest or meditation, really talking about God is meditated. Let me meditate on the seventh day. The meditation on the seventh day is really connecting to the feminine, the divine feminine. You're now passive. You're sitting down on a throne, right? You're going into yourself. Now you're going inwardly. That's the energy of Aquarius. That's why you see her using her own essence to create her own star. You see the star in the background. She's utilizing her own essence to create her own stars. So this takes you to the divine feminine. So that's why Saturn is really a planet of androgyny, if you comprehend Capricorn and Aquarius. So Capricorn is going to take you to the masculine, the horn god, but it's also going to take you to the feminine, the triple goddess. That's what this is really talking about. The triple goddess, right? The triple goddess, which is the 5 points of the pentagram. 2 points for the horn god, 3 points for the triple goddess. So Saturn also takes you to the triple goddess. So that's why I mentioned before, fuck the masculinity, fuck the patriarchy. We have to go back into the divine feminine because that's the point or the piece that's missing. So God resting on the seventh day is God connecting to the triple goddess. That's why one of the Ten Commandments says God has no partners. Why do you think it was necessary to mention that? Why do you think it was necessary for God to let us know, okay, do not associate me with any partners? Why? Because previous to religion, it was said that God had a wife, God had sons, God had daughters. The daughters of God, the sons of God, or the wives of God. That was the original thinking. Religion said, no, that's not true. So religion removed the triple goddess, and then you were only left with the divine masculine, which is basically, this has become toxic masculinity. That's what people be talking about, toxic masculinity. There's a lot of toxic men out here because they're not balanced, because they don't acknowledge the divine feminine. But that's their own fault. That's why women is chewing their ass out right now. Why do you think so many men are just getting chewed the fuck out by women, right? Women are showing them no mercy. But that's their own fault, right? Because if you're imbalanced, then women can know. They can tell, like, oh, this motherfucker is overly masculine. Just like they can tell, this motherfucker is overly feminine. They can tell. Why wouldn't they be able to tell? Anyway, so that's why God rested on the seventh day. It is the energy of the triple goddess. It is the energy of Aquarius. So now I took time to explain all that because we're talking about Capricorn and Aquarius in accordance to Pluto. Pluto is going back into Capricorn, and then it will go into Aquarius. So that's why I'm taking the time to explain these things so that we know the difference. So that's Pluto going from the divine masculine into the divine feminine, right? How is Pluto in Aquarius retrograde during the full moon going to affect us on the 5th? I don't know if I said that right. Well, Pluto goes into retrograde on the 1st. May 1st, which is tomorrow. Pluto goes retrograde tomorrow, May 1st, right? So just to clarify that, right, I just verified the date. So Pluto will be going into retrograde tomorrow. If you want the exact time, I can pull it up right now. If y'all want an exact time, let me pull up the exact time so that we know. So y'all know I'm not just making these things up in my head. I can pull up the chart right now, right? Y'all see I'm looking at the chart right now, right? So let me tell you exactly when Pluto is going into retrograde so that we know. So let me see. So I'm going to do this by an hourly basis. We ain't got to do it by the minute. I'll just do it by the hour. We ain't got to do it by the minute. So let's see. Let's see. Well, okay, here we go. Here we go. So Pluto will be going retrograde between 9:40 a.m. and this is, what's up next to this, 93? Pluto will be going retrograde between 9:40 and 10:40 a.m. So that's basically, if you're East Coast time, then that's between 12:40 and 1:40. But let me give you an exact time, right? I'm like, oh, that's a little bit, it's a little bit too stretched. Okay, let me go down to the minute. Let me go down to the minute. Let me just do y'all this justice right now. Let me go down to the minute. Give me 1 second. So I will tell you the exact time so that we're clear. Okay, let's see. When is the exact time? Give me 1 second here. Okay. The exact minute is 10:08, 36 seconds. So East Coast, that will be 12:08. No, 1:08. So 10:08 a.m. if you're on the West Coast Pacific. If you're East Coast, that will be 1:08, not a.m., p.m. So 1:08 p.m. tomorrow. So tomorrow, basically around this time, because it's like it's 1:40 right now. So basically, yeah, like in the next 24 hours, around 1:08 p.m. East Coast or 10:08 a.m. West Coast, Pluto will officially start its retrograde, right? Pluto will be in Aquarius during the next election, November 2024. So that lets you know that the elections have something to do with Pluto, the transits of Pluto. That's why the elections are in November and not another month. So that's why I emphasize all this is based in astrology. All this is based in astrology. All of it. So even if you are not an astrologer yourself, you still have to comprehend the stars. If you want to understand the world dynamics, you still have to have some type of understanding of the transits. Well, let me not say understanding, because that means you know it in and out. You will at least need to have some knowledge, at least. Not understanding, knowledge. You have to be knowledgeable about the transits because they're going to let you know exactly what's going on. So when you start to see things change, you know that okay, there has been a change in the stars, and we're just seeing the effects. We're just seeing the aftermath of changes that had already take place in the stars, right? And that's why it's the star card. Okay, so Pluto will be in Aquarius from 2023 to 2043 for 20 years. So for the next 20 years, Pluto will be in Aquarius. And y'all know we've been talking about this is an age of Aquarius, right? Pluto represents major changes. Aquarius rules over the 11th house. The 11th house represents your ability to make a wish on a star, star wishing. Aquarius represents star wishing or creating stars, aligning with your destiny. That's why you see the star here, which kind of looks like the Star of Bethlehem. You see that star, and you see the spirals from the star are going all the way down to, you see her alone. That's another thing. Let me show you the difference between the Capricorn. So let me pull out the Devil card so that we can see the differences between the divine masculine and the divine feminine and how they work. Right. So let me show you the Devil card so that y'all can see the comparison. So you see with her, she's by herself. You don't see her with other goddesses. You don't see her with other gods. She is alone. That's why she's the first goddess, right? She is the first deity. The first deity is alone. So really, who is God? If the first deity of this planet was a goddess, that means she was by her motherfucking self. So that's what the Ten Commandments is really talking about. I am not there's no partners to be associated with me. Well, that sounds like something that will come from a goddess, not a god. Because a god came after the fact. Because religion came after the fact, right? So that will really be talking about the divine feminine. Because the divine feminine is first. That's going into the story of Sophia. Sophia created the Christ, right? Let's see. Let me show you the devil card. It may take me a second to find this. Hold on. Let me show you the devil card. Give me 1 second. Let me find this card. You'll see this wasn't planned. This was not planned. Hold on. Otherwise, I would have already had all this stuff out. But that's why I tell y'all, every video is not planned. I don't ever plan any of these videos. I mean, I was just looking up all this stuff, right? Is it the same as the monad? No, the monad is different. The monad is the spiritual God. The monad, you can say, is the real God, not the creator God. There's a difference between a creator God and the spiritual God. You can say the spiritual God created the spirit world, but the monad created not the monad. The monad created the spiritual world. The demiurge created the physical world. That's why the Gnostics believed that this physical world was flawed, because it was created by a flawed or a false God, right? It is the demiurge that created what we call the Matrix. That's why when you look at the Matrix movie, that's why Neo, he was able to comprehend, oh, this Matrix is flawed. That's what the movie was really trying to talk about, but it's not ever said like that. But the Matrix is like, oh, there's a flaw in the Matrix. That's Agent Smith. Agent Smith represents the flaw within the Matrix. That's why when you look at the Matrix trilogy, Agent Smith became the virus that corrupted the entire Matrix. The Matrix could not exist. The Matrix was getting harmed because of the virus called Agent Smith. That represents the flaw that's just in creation. It's not that somebody did something wrong. That's just a necessary evil. That's Gnosticism. Gnosticism tells us about the necessary evil. That's what the Citra Aqua is all about, as we call the tree of death. It lets us into the first creation. The first creation was flawed. So that destroys this whole, well, God is perfect. Well, if God is perfect, how was the first creation a mistake? That's what the clip-off is. The clip-off represents the first creation. Then the second creation, you can say, is Adam and Eve and the world, everything we hear about in Genesis. That's the second creation. The first creation is the mistake that we call the clip-off. But that's also what keeps everything balanced. So that's why people don't like demons, but they love angels. That's why people hate the devil, but they love God, because all those darker energies represent the first creation. All the stuff that you don't like, as we call the shadow world, the shadow beings, all that comes from the first creation. And if my voice sound kind of dry, it's because I haven't had anything to drink. I'm over here fasting and shit. You know, because I've been, ever since I've been working, as I'm finding this devil card, my diet has kind of took a hit, I'm not going to lie. Motherfuckers offer me candy, I'm taking that shit. Hey, you want some candy? Hell yeah, I want some fucking candy. I'm on my goddamn feet for 10 hours moving this heavy artillery. Of course I want that goddamn candy. Then we're in an area where there is nothing. It's not like a McDonald's is right down the street. Meaning that the area that I work in is like an industry area. There's nothing but warehouses and just heavy artillery. Meaning there is no McDonald's. There is no supermarket. Meaning so the only food that you even have access to is what they give you, right? So that's why y'all been seeing. I'm like, I've been eating fucking chips and all type of snacks. I've been eating all type of snacks. I'm like, yo, either I eat these snacks or it just ain't nothing to eat unless like I bring my own food, which I eventually will begin to do. I'm like, I just gotta bring my own food. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't like just leaving my stuff. Somebody can just grab that shit if they want to. Not that I don't trust the people, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to just leave my stuff like that. You know what I mean? You don't know who, like, motherfuckers may be touching your stuff. It's like you leaving, like, you leave some liquid in the fridge. You don't know, motherfuckers have access to that. Like, so I don't be trusting people like that. I don't be trusting people like that. Somebody can, be doing some mischievous things, and you will never know, right? He said, definitely don't pass out. That's exactly why I'm like, yo, like, you want some candy? Yep. You want some snacks? Yep. Yep. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, yo, I'm not foolish. I'm taking all that shit. Keeping my energy up. So yeah, I'm not fucking around. I ain't fucking around. I'm like, yeah, give me all that. Yeah, give me all of it. So I mean, that's why I'm not crazy. How much does warehouse jobs pay? I couldn't tell you. I could not tell you. I could not tell you. It depends. I guess it depends on your skill set. Meaning, if you're a person that drives forklifts, like there's various positions. Like a warehouse is a huge operation. There's all type of dimensions, right? So it depends on your particular position, right? Meaning it's the people that's doing the logistics, who's keeping count of everything. Then there's people doing the physical labor. So it all depends on what position you play, right? But if that shit is paying minimum wage, I wouldn't say it's worth your time. It's not worth your time if it's not well beyond minimum wage. Fuck all that. Let's see. Guilty of taking pep snacks in my teens. It is what it is. Again, we're not religious. Here's a devil card. Here we go. I finally found it. So that's why I say I'm an occultist. I'm not religious, meaning I'm not like a Muslim that basically like they have to fast during Ramadan. They feel like if they don't fast, they're disobeying their God type shit, right? We not on that. It's like, yo, we are our own God. We are our own goddess. So meaning if I decide to go to McDonald's right now, and I'm a person, I don't eat fried foods, I don't eat meat, right? But if somebody offer me like yo, I'm going. If I decide to eat it, I'm just gonna eat it. I mean, I'm not gonna make a habit of it. That's not gonna be my daily driver. But I'm not gonna. Oh no, I can't eat that. That's against my religion. Like no, fuck that. Again, it's all about balance, right? It's all about balance. So it ain't about becoming overly religious about anything. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm like, all right, like I'm not religious. Like, okay, I don't eat this, I don't eat that. But I understand the position that I'm in. Like I gotta constantly keep my energy up. So just me being a hard ass about it, I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that. I know how to just not make a habit of it. So again, if I decide like, okay, I'm about to get some fucking McDonald's fries and I don't even eat fast fried foods or I don't eat fast foods either. I don't eat fast foods or fried foods. I don't eat none of that stuff, right? Because I know, you shouldn't be eating that stuff all the time. But every now and then, if I decide I want some fucking fries, I'm gonna get some fries. If I decide I want In and Out, for those on the West Coast, you know about In and Out. I don't think that people know about it on the East Coast. If I decide I want some In and Out, I'm gonna get some fucking In and Out. Am I gonna make a habit of it and now I'm about to start eating it every day? No. But if I decide one day, yo, because again, that's when you're in the spirit, you may have certain desires that you think is physical, but it's really spiritual. The spirit can be asking like, yo, give me that. I got Reese's right now. I got little Reese's candies right now. I've been eating on these shits, right? But these have no sugar. I didn't even know these existed. I've been eating sugarless Reese's. I've been eating sugarless Reese's, right? So it is what it is, right? I didn't even know they had these though. I'm like, how the fuck do you have Reese's with no sugar? I didn't even know these existed. I'm like, I grab them, but I have them on the altar though. I have a whole altar set up. I got candy just all across that altar because I'm like, yeah, let me just give that to the spirit. So that's what I did. So I put up a whole. It's just candies, Reese's candies all over there by the altar. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna eat. Hold on, I'm not gonna eat all these candies. Let me give it to the spirit. So I probably ate like half of the candies, gave half to the spirits. So that's what I do. So I'm like, yeah, if I do start eating crazy, I'm like, let me eat half of it. I get the other half to the spirit. It is what it is, right? Again, we're not religious with it. We spiritual with it. So if the spirit calls for a certain thing, get it in. Because you don't even know that you're feeding the spirit. You ain't feeding yourself, you're feeding the spirits. If you actually have spirits inside of you, though. Everybody doesn't do that. So I'm not talking to everybody. Everybody don't have spirits within them. People may work with spirits outside of themselves. Everybody don't have spirits within them. That's a whole, again, that's more so like sorcery and necromancy. That's a forbidden art, right? Meaning when you got the spirits, actually, you are the temple of the spirits instead of you like creating an altar. Because the reason why you create an altar is to give the spirits a home, right? You have an altar to give the spirits a home. But you are also an altar. You are also a temple again, but this is forbidden. So I'm not necessarily saying that I advise you to do this, but it is possible. You become the altar. That means the spirit is within you. So that means you must feed the spirit. So the same way you give offerings to the spirit, that's you. You become the offering. So sometimes the spirits request things that's very strange. You're like, yo, I don't even eat that. But I crave, you crave things that you don't even eat. I'm like, okay, that's the spirit. But that's if you are even into that. Let me show you this devil card. All right? Let me show you this devil card. Boom. Let me give y'all a close-up view. So I just want to give y'all a comparison from the masculine from the feminine. So you see, with the star card, she's all by herself doing her own thing, right? That's why Aquarius represents the independent woman. That's why she's by herself. So all these women, I'm independent. I don't need a man. That's Aquarius. That all started in the 70s now, didn't it? That's when the women like, okay, we actually, we can work for ourselves. We don't need to deal with these dumbass fools. Because most dudes are fucking fools. I understand that. That's why I'm like, I get it. Who the fuck wants to put up this overly toxic energy that these dudes be having? Oh, because I pay the rent, because I'm holding the shit down. You just gotta take all my bullshit. I understand why women don't want to deal with that shit no more. I get it. I completely understand. I'm like, who the fuck wants to put up with anybody's bullshit? We gotta put up with our own bullshit. So now you gotta put up with somebody else's. But because again, that's Capricorn. That's why so you see, if you look close enough, it looks like dick and balls. All right? See, it looks like a shaft, it looks like balls. And you see people within that balls, when these balls sack, right? And you see the goat. And then you see the rings of Saturn, right? You see the rings of Saturn at the very top, right? You see those rings of Saturn. So that's telling you that this energy is coming from Saturn, right? So yeah, you see those dick and balls, okay? This represents the divine masculine. So you can see how this energy can become very toxic if used improperly, right? That's why your fucking boss is a narcissist. That's even your fucking man is a narcissist. Some people have narcissistic partners, narcissistic bosses, and all these motherfuckers. That's when the energy is used improperly. Because when you are in a position of power, you abuse your power. It's easy to abuse your power when you're operating from the toxic masculinity. That's why every man is not a prophet now. Are they? Because when we hear about prophets, they tend to be very feminine. Not saying that they were not builders, not saying that they didn't set trends, but they were clearly balanced with the feminine. That's what it means to be a prophet. That means you're able to receive revelation. To receive, that's a feminine attribute. You're receiving versus projecting outwardly. As you see with the dick and balls, that represents a projection. You're projecting the semen, right? The staff, that's a projection. The staff standing up, getting hard, that's a projection. That's a outward manifestation. So the feminine represents the inward manifestation. That's why the yoni is inward. So when you are going inwardly, a feminine attribute. That's a feminine trait, right? That's why a lot of men are not, they're not really into, which I actually agree with, all these fucking, these goddamn witches who just overly feminine. That's why I'm just being balanced. You can be overly feminine just like you can be overly masculine. Like you can take it too goddamn far. I don't like neither one. I don't like the toxic masculinity. I don't like the toxic femininity. But you see, you don't even hear that word. Like, like women can do no wrong. Yeah, you can be over fucking bearing and you can go overboard. So it goes both ways. That's why it needs to be balanced. But somehow we don't really comprehend that. Meaning, rarely do I see a balance. I don't really see too much balance. It's either people are on one side or another side, right? And what I mean by balance, like the men who are into like Andrew Tate, for example. He's a popular figure, right? I'm not saying I agree or disagree. Again, I don't have enough information. But you can say the people that follow him, he can be saying one thing, but then they just take it to a whole nother level. They go way overboard. And they use that as a reason to begin to mistreat women, which is inaccurate. Right? You can be masculine without mistreating women, just like you can be feminine without mistreating men. Right? You don't need, like, you got women that, well, niggas ain't shit. You don't need to go that far with it. It's just the motherfuckers you fucking with. You need to change your trajectory. That doesn't mean every man is a fucking narcissist. Every man is not a narcissist, but some are. Every woman is not a narcissist, but some are. Because you can go overboard with it. So the only thing that stops you from going overboard is being balanced. And that's why we don't really see too much of that. All we're seeing is everybody that's doing their own thing, right? So that's why they go too far. That's why the feminists are narcissists and the men are narcissists. Because they go too far. Because nobody's trying to listen to each other. Everybody feel like they're at war, and they actually are at war. But that's why I already broke that down, why modern relationships suck. So I already went into a whole video about that. We ain't got to reiterate too much of that. I've already explained that. We are naturally at war. The only way that we can bring peace with each other is to understand the other half. Meaning, as a man, you must understand that feminine principle within you. Only when you understand you, only when you understand your own anima, will you understand women. And for women, it's only when you understand your own animus will you understand men. That's how that works. And that's why many people are not doing. That's why, again, people have so much to say about the dating, dating right now. It just sucks. It's because you suck. It's because you suck. For the people that feel that way, you fucking suck. Because you don't even understand your own self. You don't understand that as a man, there's a woman within you already. As a woman, there's a man within you already. And because you don't have a relationship with that woman or you don't have a relationship with that man, that's why it's reflected out in your reality. But that has already been explained by Carl Jung or Carl Jung. He already laid down that game, but most people don't read his literature. Because again, most people are not reading any goddamn thing. They're just listening to videos. They're not reading the literature because you have to actually step outside of yourself to comprehend whether it's you're reading Carl Jung or Alistair Crowley or Helena Blavatsky. You got to step outside of yourself to comprehend. You can't be an egomaniac trying to understand the occult. That's what that's talking about. You cannot be an egomaniac trying to understand the occult. That's telling you to go inside yourself and to truly understand your shadow. So if you are a man, your shadow is a woman. If you are a woman, your shadow is a man. That's why most people are afraid of their shadow, their devils, their demons. That's just a reminder, like, yo, you are actually everything that you hate. Everything, if you are a man, everything you hate about women is already within you. If you are a woman, everything you hate about men is already within you. It's just a part of your shadow that you don't want to get to know, that you hate, that you're trying to stay away from. That's your own personal devils, your own personal demons, your own personal vices. Because when you got that shit out the way, now you realize, like, damn, women are not as bad as I thought, or men are not as bad as I thought. When you understand the one inside yourself. But again, how many people are doing that? Not many. So that's why, like, it's kind of better just to leave these motherfuckers alone. It's really kind of better just to leave these people alone. That's why you see my ass in the house, right? You don't see me out here chasing ass. I'm like, do I really want those problems? Not really. Do I really want those issues? Not really. Because I know the type of work I'm putting in. Look at all the work I had to put in just to get to this level. I wasn't always at this level. So if I know how much work I had to put in, then I'm like, okay, for me to even expect the average person to be putting in half of or even 25% of that work, I would be fooling my goddamn self. I would just be fooling my damn self to think, okay, yeah, these women are actually putting in work. These layman women are just putting in work. No, the fuck they're not. These layman men are putting in work. No, the fuck they're not. No, they're not. They're not putting in no type of work. Why? Because they're egomaniacs. The world makes you an egomaniac. The world makes you think this world is about you. That's what the world does. The world gives you egomania. If you don't comprehend this shit, the world gives you egomania. And this is what the Pluto retrograde is all about. You see, it's going, that's why I'm talking about this. It's going, we're going to have 5 months of a retrograde divine masculine. So expect for, men that are in position of power, men who think they got a lot going on, expect them to go under. And then when Pluto begins to transition into Aquarius fully, expect the women to, because actually the retrograde is in Aquarius right now and it's going to go back into Capricorn. So Pluto is in 0 degrees Aquarius right now. And now it's going to start to move backwards. So before you even begin to see like the fall of men, you're going to see a couple women fall too, because Pluto will be going retrograde in Aquarius first. So it's just a balance of the universe. Everybody who gets besides themselves, who think they're, they got everything going on, expecting to get their ass spanked. Their ass will be spanked because of their own illusions that they cast for themselves. Everybody's just in echo chambers. That's why social media is so toxic. Social media is so toxic because you can just have a bunch of people following you who disagree with you. You're not ever challenged. You're not challenged. If you're a woman, showing ass and titties, and you get, let's just say, 50,000 followers, these are all people that just want to fuck. These are not people who's going to call you out for all the bullshit that you actually spew. Same thing for a man. You think, you're trying to become the next Andrew Tate, the next Bill Gates or Elon Musk or whatever. You're just going to have a bunch of followers who just agree with you. They're not trying to challenge you. That's why these worlds don't really mix. Like I was saying before, the spiritualist is not having conversations with the scientists. The scientist is not having conversations with the spiritualist because they're not trying to understand each other's perspectives. We're not even trying to understand the perspective or the opposite because that's like unnatural. So really, if you truly understand the occult, this is truly unnatural. You're doing things that are unnatural. It's unnatural for a man to try to comprehend his own inner woman. That's not natural. That's unnatural, but it's absolutely necessary. Just like a woman, it's not for a woman to understand her inner man. That's unnatural because we're just so caught up in our own biology. Oh, I'm a man. I got dick and balls. I'm a woman. I have estrogen. Right, I have these eggs. I have to, a child will be inside me. So we're only understanding our own biology. We're not understanding, okay, you actually have the opposite within you, just not on a biological level. It is on a spiritual level. So the only way for a woman to understand a man is through her own spirituality. The only way for a man to understand his own spirituality or his own woman rather, is through his own spirituality. That's the purpose of being spiritual, but nobody's going to explain that to you. They think it's about enlightenment. What do you think it means to be enlightened? What do you think that really means? See, nobody wants to just tell you the truth. Everybody wants to just do all this extra shit, and we wonder why everything is all over the place. There's no consistency with these people. They're all over the fucking place. You're not going to get consistency. Because in order to be consistent, you got to be putting in this work when nobody's looking. Not when you got a bunch of people following you, when you have 0 followers. When nobody even knows who you are. That's when you need to be putting in work for real. So when those numbers begin to go up, if you even care to do that, you already put the work in. So you already are reflecting the truth. So the numbers don't really mean shit to you. That's when those numbers start going up, when the numbers don't really mean shit to you. Everybody who gets caught up into the numbers game, these are the people that lose their way. Now you think you something because you got numbers. It's like you were already supposed to know that. So if those numbers go, that's why people be losing their whole minds. Let their YouTube channels get deleted. Let their social media get deleted. Now they don't have that clout no more. People know who you are, but now you ain't got the numbers to show and prove who you are. These people become in. They lose their way because they allowed the world to see them. They were only in an echo chamber. 50,000 followers who get inboxed every day by random dudes trying to give them everything. I can fly you out. I can buy you this. I can buy you that. Man with money, man without money. Man with influence, man without influence. Now all of a sudden that goes away. That takes a blow to your confidence level. It shouldn't, but it does. Vice versa. You a man, you a so-called, you're a spiritualist, you got all these women in the inbox that's ready, trying to be your wife, trying to do this, trying to do that. Now all of a sudden, overnight it's gone. It takes a blow to your confidence. It shouldn't, but it does, because like at some point you realize you were not doing the work. You stopped doing the work. You got caught up into the world. You got caught into the matrix, and when the matrix resets itself, you get reset as well, because the matrix resets itself. This is what we're going through now. Pluto retrograde is a matrix resetting itself. That's why Pluto can be heaven or hell. In the Kabbalah, Pluto is heaven. In the clip-off, Pluto is hell. So depending on what side of the scale you on, Pluto can be your heaven or Pluto can be your hell. That's what that represents. So if you in hell trying to make your way to heaven, you got to go through Pluto. If you're in heaven trying to make your way to hell, you got to go through Pluto. Pluto shows you both sides. That's why Pluto was demoted. They don't want you to understand the mysteries of Pluto. Pluto correlates to the number 0. So nobody wants to be a 0, right? Everybody wants to be number 1. Everybody wants to be number 1. Nobody wants to be 0. Because the 0 represents the all. We are all, we are none. Didn't Newt tell you that? Chapter 1 of the book of the law. We are all, and we are none. We're not one, we are none. That's a quote from the book of the law. We are not one, we are none. We're not one, we're 0. We are not the sun, we are Pluto. So that's what makes this Pluto retrograde so important. It's a reminder. If you think you get caught up in trying to be number 1, and then you become 0, but Pluto makes you a 0, and then you don't know how to cope, that's your own fucking fault. If you realize that I am a 0, fuck being number 1, I am none. So when Pluto resets that ass, you like, oh, I've been waiting for that. I've been waiting for this reset, because I didn't get caught up in it in the first place. All right? Enlightenment is understanding the reality of life. The reality of life is that you are both masculine and feminine. What's more reality than that? That's the whole purpose of why you're here. You incarnated as either a man or a woman, and it's for you to understand your opposite. That's enlightenment. Enlightenment don't have nothing to do with nothing else. Oh, I know what the trees do. I know what nature. Fuck nature. What is your nature? That's why it's called knowledge of self. Enlightenment is knowledge of self, of you. Not the world, you. Do you understand you? Because when you understand you understand everything else. That's all this is about. That's why I'm showing you divine masculine, divine feminine. Do you understand you? That's it. That's all you need to know. Nothing else matters. If you understand you, nothing else matters. Everybody's trying to understand everything else. Let me put this charger in. Hold on. Let me put my charger in because this phone is going to die in a second. But, I want to make these final points before we get out of here. Okay. So that's what this is all about. Do you understand you? Because most people don't. Most people are too in their feelings. They're too personal. They give a fuck about shit that don't matter at all. They care more about politics than themselves. They care more about money. They care more about education. Why do you think people latch on to anything that they can latch on to? Why do you think people do that? Why do you think people brag about their education? Why do you think people brag about what they got? About their success? Why do you think people brag about that? Why do you think that's a thing? Why do influencers give a fuck about numbers? Why do you think people do that? Because if you knew who you was, none of that shit would matter. If you understand I'm zero, I'm not one, none of that shit matters. The matrix doesn't matter. But the matrix does matter to most people to feel they have purpose. This world doesn't give you purpose. That's the whole thing. Your purpose or your destiny comes from the stars. This earth has nothing to do with your purpose. We just incarnate into this earth. But we're only here for a short amount of time. We're only here for what, maybe 100 years. But your soul is infinite. So 100 years don't determine your purpose. This is just a path towards your purpose. But this don't determine you. Your soul is not determined about because you incarnated in the 1900s or you incarnated in the 2000s if you're younger. That don't determine your fucking purpose. If you're infinite, if you're immortal, what the fuck is 100 years gonna do? Why is that the determining factor? But it is for most people. Yeah, so they're looking for purpose, but they're looking for purpose outside of themselves. They don't know that the purpose is actually internal. That's why when you die, your heart is weighed on the scales of Mayat against the feather of Mayat. It's your heart, not the world's heart, your heart. Your heart gets weighed. Did you do what you came here to do? You're not being asked how many followers did you get? How many women did you sleep with? How many men did you sleep with? Who gives a fuck? How successful were you? How much money did you make? None of that shit is gonna fucking matter. Everything that we think matters is not gonna matter. It's like, yo, did you fulfill your purpose? If you didn't, then that's why you gotta reincarnate and do it again. But if you did, now you can go into higher chambers. People think their purpose has something to do with this other shit. It doesn't. It doesn't. Your purpose has nothing to do with nothing you think. Because if you don't know your purpose, it's because you don't know who you are. You don't have knowledge of self. And you don't have knowledge of self because you're too caught up in this matrix that will reset itself very soon. It's very soon. The matrix will reset itself. And it's on you. Like, yo, am I the zero or I'm the one? So be the one all you want. Be Neo all you want. When you're supposed to be Agent Smith. The story was really about Agent Smith. I just keep using this reference because, we don't, it goes over our heads. Nobody want to resonate with the villain. The villain is actually the one that tells you the truth. But if we don't want to know the truth, we're going to look at the hero. Neo was not the true hero. The true hero was Agent Smith. If Agent Smith did not corrupt the Matrix, then Neo would not have existed. There would be no need for a Neo if it wasn't an Agent Smith. If it wasn't an Agent Smith, there would be no need for a Neo. We don't comprehend this. If Agent Smith didn't come to the realization of who he was, then Neo wouldn't have served a purpose. It was because Agent Smith realized, damn, just keep telling me I'm an agent, but yo, I actually have more power than all these other agents. We don't understand this, dude. Understand that. I'll be back at y'all a little bit. 93. Love's the law, love under will.